Welcome to my presentation on active learning. Specifically, we're looking at project-based learning versus problem-based learning. Both of these are approaches to teaching that are very similar and very different at the same time. Project-based learning is a method of teaching in which a lesson is taught by introducing a final product and students learn what they need to know in order to produce one of their own. Students have the majority of the control over the direction their work goes. Projects may or may not address a specific problem. Projects usually go on over a period of time. Projects usually are arranged on a timeline with learning objectives spaced out over the duration. Learner motivation and active engagement are goals of educators using a project-based approach to learning. It is essential for students to know what they are doing, why is it important, and how they will be assessed. This diagram shows problem-based learning. Problem-based learning goes on. It can take several different routes along the way to solving a problem. It is a method of teaching in which students are given a problem and the content necessary to solve it. They learn throughout the process of working to solve the problem. A specific problem is addressed by the teacher. Everything is based on that. Students work to develop solutions. Teamwork and communication skills are absolutely essential. Students must learn and practice them in order to be successful. Confidence is taught through a constant requirement for students to defend their findings and solutions. This is my practical application. My learning objective is, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to identify, analyze, and discuss each of the following elements of a narrative plot: the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the resolution, internal and external conflicts, perspective or the narrator's point of view, stated and implied character traits, and static and dynamic characters. A project-based approach to this would look something like the following. Students will create a video presentation and upload it to their YouTube accounts. The video will be created with the intention that it will be used to teach sixth graders about narratives. The video will summarize, discuss, and analyze one of the stories from Walter Meyer's 145th Street short story compilation. Students must address each of the narrative elements previously mentioned. Students must explain what those elements are, where they can be seen in the chosen story, and what their relevance is to the story. A problem-based approach would look slightly different. Students will be given the following problem to address. Why are narrative elements labeled essential? What would happen to a story if any of these individual elements was missing? The goal of this is to have students first identify what each narrative element does in a story so they can then deduce its importance or relevance. To do this, they will have to analyze the narrative elements within a story and then predict what the story would be like without them. Students will do this for each individual element previously listed. Students will present their findings in the form of a recorded panel discussion. These are my personal opinions on the topic. I am a fan of both of these approaches to learning. Each of them is activity-based, and I feel that it is the best way to teach kids, mainly because of the engagement it provides. I don't necessarily agree with many of the statistics given about what people retain and what they don't. However, I do believe that the only way to maximize what kids learn is to have them as highly involved in the learning process as possible. The only way to do that is to get them interested and limit distractions. And the best way to do that is to have them doing as opposed to just listening, reading, and writing. My own personal character makeup will not allow me to decide what I like better between the two PBLs. I greatly enjoy being creative and producing, but I equally enjoy problem solving. I have already consciously worked in both of these approaches to my lesson planning, and I am already seeing positive results. My only hope is that I continue to improve and my kids do as well. These were the references used to produce this presentation, and that concludes my presentation.